Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Monday night right now. However, I'm getting ready to, I got everything set up out there to do the next pull, pulling stumps. And I wanted to show you just on paper real quick. I'm going to show you tomorrow how everything is actually set up. I'm going to show you on paper first and kind of what I'm thinking with this one. This one's a hardwood and it's bigger than the others. So I kind of changed it up a little bit. While you're here, I went ahead and my first video with the, that I went over the theory and everything that I used. I went ahead and linked all the parts in the description now that I used, although everything's available on Amazon. I just did it that way because Amazon had decent enough stuff, but I can't link to it for some reason, so I just had to find the stuff from everywhere else. But you can find everything that I linked there on Amazon, or at least something equivalent. So that's one thing. Also, I'm going to be doing a lot of these. If you're watching, I'm going to be doing a lot of these. Like I said, at least 50 over the next year and a half, probably upwards of 100. I don't know. I have in the back part of the property, I have a lot of trees that need to come down. And I keep running over like random stumps from trees that have come down or been cut down in the past that they just left the stumps there. So I have a lot of work to do. But with that being said, this is the intro to the next video, be my number 3 video. So I'm going to show you what I have here on paper real quick and just kind of run through everything with you. It's going to be different from the last time. So the biggest difference here is the last time was a 30-to-1 mechanical advantage. This time it's going to be a 42-to-1 mechanical advantage, a little bit more just because this one is a hardwood and it's bigger than the other ones. But I'm going to kind of run through it. So normally what I do is I start off on a 5-to-1 right here. So it's 2 pulleys here, 2 pulleys here, and then the end comes back around and ties right here. But if you notice now, this time I have 3. So I have 3 here, 3 here, and then the end is tied here. So that ends up being a 7-to-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have a 7-to-1, and instead of, the reason why I broke a chain last time was I was only using one, so I had both of these plus the end tied onto one chain, and it ended up breaking. Now I have 3 pulleys, and the reason why I did 3 is because this tension is split among more strands now. Before it was only split among 5, now it's split among 7 strands, so each strand should be better. And the other reason here, what I did was as you can see here, I have, first of all, these are no longer chains. These are toe straps, 35,000-pound toe straps. And I have 1 pulley and the end, so that's 3 strands of pulling force on one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 strands of pulling force on another one. And they're both tied around the stump there. So we're going to split that up. And then the same way goes for these guys down here to this anchor tree. And these are toe straps as well. These are 20 footers. These are 10 footers right down here. So we have a 7-to-1 here, and then right up here we have, now this is the same as last time. It's anchored right here to the end, comes up, goes around this pulley, around another anchor tree, and then back down here around this pulley again, and that's the end of it. These are about 45 feet long, that stretch, and that stretch is 45 feet long, and then it turns a corner and there's about 5 feet left here or so. And then, so that gives you a 1, 2, 3-to-1, and with a 7-to-1, that ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that ends up being a 21-to-1. And then right here, if you come out here, I'm using, that's my great car, this is going to be my wife's car, tied all the way in here, and this is a 100-footer, about 95 feet, down around a pulley that's tied onto the end of this rope, synthetic rope, and then on my car, and then my car is going to have the pulling force, and I'm going to drive this way. And by the way, so although I only have 95 feet only brings me up here, and then I can go another 95 feet past her. And then once I get all the way to the end, then I can stop my car, get in her car, and then use my car as an anchor point, and then drive her car up here. So we have a 2-to-1 into a 3-to-1, that's a 6-to-1 into a 7-to-1, and this is a compound system, complex system, whatever you want to call it. So it ends up being 42-to-1 mechanical advantage. And the biggest draw of that is less tension per strand, even though this is 23,000-pound material. And then these right here, these are 35,000-pound toe straps.
And the 3/8 inch chain that I was using had a working load limit of around 5,000 pounds, and these are 35,000 a piece, and I'm spreading them, so I don't want to break stuff again. And so if it has to be, you know, over engineered or way more than what I need, then so be it. You know, the stuff is actually cheap. These toe straps here were cheaper than what the chain is. So, and it has a lot higher threshold. So I'm going to try not to use any chain if I can help it. But here's the setup. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's go outside and take a look at what it actually looks like. Hey everyone, we are outside now, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do it this time. Now you remember from the last video, number 2, in case anybody wants to watch, video number 2, I broke a chain. I had it wrapped around right here. You can see the scarring right there. I had the chain wrapped around several times and then came back, and I ended up breaking the chain. Not ideal. And so you can see I was actually a little bit lower here too, so I'm higher up on it. This is about 3 feet tall right here. Actually, it's a little over 3 feet. These straps are right about 3 feet. This is about 3 foot 4 inches or so. So I wanted to get away from chains. And what I have here is a 42-to-1. Actually, I just have a 21-to-1 setup right now, but I'm going to start with a 42-to-1 tomorrow. I'm sorry. Yeah, today's Monday. I'm going to actually do the pulling tomorrow. I just don't have enough time. So here's what I did. Instead of one chain, 2 tree savers. 1, 2, and this is under a lot of tension right now. Actually, I didn't even realize how much it was. And I got it all set up earlier today. So I have these 2 tree savers. These are 30,000 pounds a piece, each one of these. Into these guys, these shackles, and then onto the shackles, we got these. These are 20 footers. These are my new ones that just came in. So this one's a 20 footer and this one's a 20 footer. And the reason why is I had to get it all the way down here because I'm not doing a 4-to-1. I'm doing well, it's actually going to be a 7-to-1, but I'm going to be using 3 pulleys here. And then if you look, 1, 2, 3 pulleys down there. So here's what we have. And I'm sorry, it is a little bit windy. So if you get a little gust every once in a while, I apologize. So here's the end right there. That's the end of this. Ooh, and you know what? I'm just looking at. They don't bury that very deep. I can kind of see where it's at. But anyway, so I have this one pulley, and this one pulley has one strap all by itself. So it's one pulley and then the end. And this guy has the other 2 pulleys on it. And something I did discover: don't use, when you have 2 of them on one, don't use this part because it's angled and it wants to mash these all the way together. And when it does that, it puts these at really severe angles and it can cause it to bend. So we're not doing that. Put that back in there. All right, so now what we have here is we have 3. We're starting right here on the hook, and it comes down to the end around the first one there, back down around the second one, then back down here around, this is also, if you look, there's 2 right there stacked, and then the last one goes around there, and then it comes up, and the end of it is actually right here. This is the end of it right here. So this is the end of my, if you look, you got 1, 2, oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a 7-to-1 right now, right here. And we come here to this guy, and if you look, 1, 2, and there's a pulley all the way down there. And this ends up being, this is the end of this second cable, and then 1, 2, 3. So this is a 3-to-1. So you have a 7-to-1 and a 3-to-1. That's 21-to-1. And then the end of this, I just kind of did something temporary. I just brought it over here and I just kind of hooked it right here. So this is actually the end of it. So right now between this is a 21-to-1 right now. And then at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy off of there, this red end. I'm going to take that off of there and then do another 2-to-1 between the back of my vehicle and the back of the wife's vehicle there. So we're going to have a 42-to-1 to start out with. Now, if you guys watched previous videos, especially the last one where I broke a chain, I was under a lot of tension. It looks like I did some damage to this first cable right there, but I was only running a 5-to-1. And so what I decided to do is add an extra pulley, because it was only 2 pulleys right here and then 2 pulleys right there. And that was it. The problem with that is now you end up with more tension per strand, and I wanted to drop the amount of tension per strand and the amount of force on each one of these. Now, it's more than enough for them to handle it, but I'm going to be doing many of these over the next few years, probably at least 100 of these videos. And I want to make sure that I don't have to replace something every week. That doesn't sound like fun. So we left it like that. And as you can see, by the way, I used every single piece that I have. I used all the shackles. I used 10 shackles. These are my new 20 footers. And those around that are actually anchoring right there, those are actually 8 footers that I already had. These orange ones, these are my 10 footers that I just got. And if you look, I was just a little bit short. And so I had to use this strap right here. This is another 8 footer. I had to use another strap right around there to this guy to make it go a little bit closer, so that way I could make this turn. More shackles, more pulleys, more pulleys. There is a chain right there that I am not using. By the way, I'm not using any chains here. And as you can see here, the two 10 footers right there. So I am good to go for tomorrow. Not quite enough time today. Have other stuff to do. When you're gone to Germany for a week, then other things kind of build up. So we're gonna leave it off there for today. And the magic of cinematography, I'm gonna pick this up. The next thing you see is going to be where I start this. It'll be Tuesday, March 14th is when I'm actually gonna pull this, and it should go hopefully a lot better than the last time. So let's hope. All right, see everybody in a little bit. All right, we are stopping for intermission real quick. So you see I have it there, and this is the 42, and then around that, and I already pulled it and I backed it up to let some tension off of it. Okay, so here's one side that worked really nice, and then here's this worked really nice, and it's so much nicer because without the chains you don't have that chung 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 like noise that always makes when it's slipping a little bit. And these work just fine. These work just fine, although if you're looking, looks like they're two different lengths. Anyway, and we're gonna come up here, and as you can see, oh no, oh, it's coming. It's coming. Now, I already drove about 60, no, actually I drove about 80 feet. So 80 feet ends up being you know, less than 2 feet of movement here. But as you can see, that's real nice. So this is bent quite a bit. It came up quite a bit. There's a definite mound right here. Let me see if you can see it. So there was no mound here. Now there's a mound right through here where it's all coming up. So now what I'm going to do is, because I don't have enough room to run it any further, so what I'm going to do, to run my car that is, so what I decided I'm going to do, this is the last one now, to right here, this is going to makes it a 21-to-1. So what I'm going to try to do is just take this guy out here and hook the car directly onto this. So it'll be a 21-to-1, not a 42-to-1. So I'm gonna get that set up and we'll give it a shot again. All right, here we go. We're hooked up here. We're at the 21-to-1, hooked directly right here. By the way, if anybody has never used one of these before, remember the shackle, that's all the way tight. Don't ever do that, because when this turns under stress, what'll happen is it will mash this thing, like bury the threads on it, and then you have to take a torch and some big old pipe wrenches to get it apart. So tighten it and then loosen it about 1/4 to a 1/2 a turn. That'll keep it from locking in. Makes life a lot easier. So let's get to pulling at a 21-to-1, trying to get that the rest of the way out of the hole. You can see there we are. We're going to come right around here, and it's still under quite a bit of tension. I let a little bit of tension off of it, but not too much. Now the funny part here is I started spinning out. I had not enough traction, so I think I'm gonna have to go get the tractor no matter what. But man, she's coming right now. In fact, actually, you know what I need to do? I need to now throw on a chain. Yeah, I need to throw on a chain, because what I'm going to do is down here, I'm going to put a notch in it in the trunk. And after I put a notch in the trunk, then what I'm going to do is put the chain in that notch. But as you can see, this thing is obviously broken loose. I'm going to put a notch in the trunk, and then I'm going to pull it with chain and with the notch in the trunk. Then I can just pull it all the way out and then just drag it out. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try, because with the tractor, it's no problem. I have enough. I just don't want to, you know what? I'm going to have to come in with the tractor into the yard just a little bit. It's going to put a little bit of dents and stuff in it, but it just can't be helped. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll be right back. All right, everybody, here we go. I got it reset now. Problem with the two cars is when I got this down to a 21-to-1, the car no longer quite had enough. I just kind of spun. So I had to get the tractor. What I was trying to avoid, the good part is it's been a few days since it's rained here, and so I'm not doing near as much damage as the first time I brought the tractor in here. So it's not actually doing too bad. So I still have a 21-to-1 being pulled with the tractor. Let's go back here. I still am using these with the tree straps, but what I did do up here, cut a notch right in here, so as it bends over, these aren't going to come off. So, and I got most of it, if you can see here, most of it's broke loose here. There's a big, I don't know if you guys can see it, there's a big hump right here. So it's about ready to come out anyway. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead, get to it and finish it up, because as you can see, we're out of daylight. right, guys, and here we are right now. And now, obviously, you can tell, so I just got done with the 21-to-1, and you can see it's almost entirely broke loose, but look at the amount of, look at all the roots and everything that are going up with it. At least I'm not getting into, I was a little worried that the roots are going to be pulled from under the fence, but man, that's a huge chunk right there. So I'm just going to finish it off here. There's my GoPro right over there on a little pretty little stand. So yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off right here. Going to go ahead and keep pulling it. The angle that I have on that cut's enough to keep it. And hopefully I don't do any damage to these. However, these 8-footers are cheap. They're like $15. So if I do end up cutting one, that's a lot better than breaking a chain. So now, as you can see right here, and we're under just a little bit of tension, not much, because if it was under full tension, you would not want to be this close to it, because if anything breaks, although the synthetic winch line is supposed to be non-energetic, it's not supposed to store any energy, it does still store a little bit. So so we're at the 6-to-1, 7-to-1, sorry. So we got 3 here, plus the 1 going to the front of the tractor there. So 7-to-1 now. I'm going to go ahead, and we have to be a little careful when I'm pulling it, because the distance from this one to that pulley right there, it's about 10 feet. So it shouldn't be too bad. But that means that I'll pull this about 10 feet. So that means I can actually back up about 60, and I don't need to pull this back anywhere near 10 feet. So I'm gonna get to it here. Actually, I'm just gonna keep this live while I'm jumping on there right now, so you can see what I'm doing. It'll be a little bit loud here. I apologize for that. Okay. Let's take the bucket up a little bit. We're gonna do a little gear, reverse, and reverse, park and brake off. Let me zoom in here a little bit. There we go. Better now, a lot quicker. I must not have had the knots put in there good enough, but anyway, that's fine enough, because that's all the way up out of there. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down here, and we'll go take a look real quick. Actually, I don't need to shut it down. All right, let's see. I don't think we broke anything. I think it just came off the notch, because the stump ended up coming over 90 degrees. So does it look like I broke anything here? Zoom out here. No, I didn't break anything. Nothing broke. Got dirt and all and everything. So here it is, right here. This is 8 feet tall. That's about 8 feet tall right there. So you can see, man. Look at that. I don't know what it did to the side of it. Oh, it left it in the ground there. Oh, I can see what happened. It came all the way around and started digging into the ground there again. That's what happened. That's why it stuck all of a sudden. Well, I'm gonna have to check again, make sure I didn't break anything. Jeez. By the way, guys, just so you know, this is about a 4 feet deep pit that I just pulled up, and look at all these. These are Bradford pear trees. Look at the amount of roots on this thing. And so I got some big ones here. I'm gonna have to just chop those out a little bit. But look at that one, it came all the way. This right here, this is part of the trunk. So this right here is that spot right there. You see it actually ripped out part of the trunk. Oh man. Man, that's no joke, but look at those. So these are probably about 2.5 inch diameter. That one, and that one right there. So those three, those are about 2.5 inch diameters. So, but man, look at that. Look at how deep of a pit that is there. Jeez. Like I said, that's at least 3 to 4 feet deep right there. So I'm gonna leave it off there. I'm gonna make sure I didn't break anything. And then I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm not gonna get all these out until I have all of them done. This whole row right there, and each one of these is gonna be a video. And then I'm gonna bring the tractor in and do all of them on the same day. And you see that's where the first one was at there. I still haven't filled it in yet. So, but came out, man. This is the biggest one. If you look at the next one, like that one was massive. The next one, two, the next two are a lot smaller. And the very, very far one there that's kind of hiding, you can see that one's bigger, but these two aren't too bad. And that is a softwood, so I'm not expecting, even though that's the biggest one, I'm not expecting much resistance out of him. There's my GoPro. All right, so probably this coming weekend, I'll do another one, and then into next week, and I'm gonna try, I'll try to get maybe even both of those out, the smaller ones out. So I hope everybody's having a good week, and we'll see you this weekend probably.